Going live, right about now. Hello everyone, welcome to the Frog Gym Physics Part 1, where we'll be making a new second game, which is a physics-based game. And here we have Maxwell to start things off. So Maxwell.
All right. So, from the introductory live stream, hopefully you should have installed the Unity game engine. And so the first step is to open that up. And when you click Create New, it should take quite a while, but once it does finish, it should look something like this. And you can ignore the assets at the bottom. Those are irrelevant for now. And right now, this is some kind of scene, as you can see. This camera represents everything that you'll be able to see with your monitor. And we can start by placing a few shapes into this area. So what we do is you right-click this area right here, go to 2D Object, because this is a 2D game. Go to Sprites, and we can start off with a circle. And here at the very top left, there are some tools here that will allow us to manipulate this circle. So first, I'll select the Move tool, and I guess I'll move it here. Okay. So, and then next, I'll add a platform for this circle to sit on. And in order to do this, we will go right-click this area again, go to 2D Object, Sprites, and this time we can select Square. Now, there are a lot of other shapes that you can learn to use in the future, but right now we're just sticking to the very basics. And so I have the Move tool selected still, so I will move it to this corner here. And then I can use the Rect tool to stretch this square out. And in order to differentiate between the circle and the platform here, I can go over here to the right, and these are a lot of pieces of information about this platform here, one of which is its color, which we can click on and we can change to anything. So I guess we can find a nice shade of blue. So basically, adding shapes is just as simple as that. You can add them in here and then manipulate them with the tools. There are plenty of others, such as rotating. There's scale. There are, different move tools. There's just moving around the camera, although you can do that with middle button. So yeah, that should be relatively simple. And hold on just a second. Okay, so, for our game, we're going to pretty much have a box that we have to navigate through, and we'll be playing as the circle, pretty much. So, in order to do this, we're going to have to use the tricks that we learned of how to manipulate these shapes. So, with the square tool, we can first Control-C, Control-V to make a duplicate. And while it doesn't seem like anything has actually happened, you can see once we move this, there's a second platform. Then we can just place this at the top. And then we can do this again to create yet another. Except this time I'm going to use the rotate tool. I guess not this one, but this one, to properly rotate this. And I guess to be totally sure that this is straight, we can go over here to the right again under the rotation property and change the Z to, because we can do -90. Positive 90 will also work. Go back to the move tool, and then we can use these specific arrows to make sure that we aren't moving it up or down. As you can see, I'm dragging my mouse up and down, but it's still only moving left and right. And we can do this for both ends. Okay, but now if we press this play button at the top, which is essentially our way to test it, nothing is really going on. It's not very interactive at all. It's just static. So in order to add a bit more, I guess you could say flavor to it, we can select all of these different shapes by clicking the bottom one and shift clicking the top one. So that will select all of them. And then we can click add component. Now in here, we can essentially add extra properties which are not in the normal properties that inherently come with the shapes. So for this example, we're going to add something called a Rigidbody 2D. And be sure to select the 2D one, because this is a 2D game. And so, yeah, there isn't that much to this, except, yeah. So now, I'm not sure it will show yet. This isn't part of my segment, I believe, but the walls, I guess you could say, of this level are now solid. And so is the circle. So they will collide with each other instead of just phasing through as they would normally. All right, and so I guess we can add a little bit of gravity, but not to all of the shapes, because then they would just all fall together, but to just specifically the circle. So we can select only the circle here, and then once again, add component. Then, pretty sure it's for
hello, Maxwell.
hello.
Seems though you're a tad bit confused. So you see, with Rigidbody 2D, you actually already added the gravity. What you need to do is you need to add some box colliders and circle colliders. So if we were to hit play
okay,
right now,
so, all right, so
the clarity should happen if you hit play. Recommend hitting play.
So if we do hit play, yeah, as I foretold, everything just falls. So I have just lied to you. In fact, Rigidbody does not make them rigid, it makes them have gravity. So to prevent them from just falling, we're going to select all of the squares by once again clicking top square and then shift clicking the bottom. And then adding component. This is going to be box collider 2D. And actually, while we're at it, we should remove Rigidbody. And this is, I guess this is a somewhat of a good accident, because took me a while to figure this out. In order to remove something, you just right-click the name and remove component. And we should give the circle, so we should click on circle, the circle collider, so that it doesn't just phase through the platform. And so, if my calculations are correct, when I hit play, the circle falls. Okay, I guess I should drag it a bit higher up so it's easier to see. The circle falls down. We have achieved gravity. And yeah, so that is yep. So that is pretty much all that you need to know about shapes for now, or that is in my segment. And yeah.
So, Naveen, are you ready? It seems though we're having some technical difficulties with Naveen's side of things. So, Naveen, you mind turning on your camera and sharing your screen?
Hello.
Hi, Naveen. Want to share your screen?
Yeah, okay. So this is the recreation of what Maxwell made.
Do you want to turn on your camera?
It's not letting me.
Oh, that's weird. Oh well, let's just move on.
Okay. So this is a recreation of what Maxwell made. And you have to come to add physics to come here, and then you have to go to create, and then wait.
So Naveen, want to explain what you're trying to do to our viewers?
Yeah, I'm trying to add 2D physics material, but I forgot where that is.
Oh well. So Naveen, here's what you gotta do. Let's try right-clicking on assets.
Okay.
Right-click. Wait for the thing to pop up because we got some lag going. Right-click.
Yeah. Maybe it doesn't show up.
Okay, let's go to 2D then. Right-click, go to 2D.
The what?
2D. If you right-click, there should be a 2D option.
Oh, okay.
You'll see 2D, and under 2D, there's physics. Right there, see? 2D, physics material.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, you have to go here, and then you have to go to 2D, and then you have to press physics material. And then you have to add the physics material to the circle. And you go to physics material, and then you change the bounciness to be 0.9 or anything that makes sense. Like if it's over 1, then it will keep bouncing, and then it'll eventually just bounce too much. So what that does is it will make the ball bounce like that.
So Naveen, you want to show our viewers what happens if you make it too bouncy?
Yes. So if you make it anything more than one, it will keep bouncing. And then it'll hit the top and hit the bottom, and it'll keep going faster, and then it'll clip out of like that. And you don't want that, so you keep it under 1. I keep it at 0.9 because that looks cool. Because it eventually stops. Kind of.
I agree. That does look pretty cool. So Naveen, what would happen if we didn't apply any physics material to the circle, but instead we only applied it to the walls?
Should we try?
Let's try it out.
Okay.
We can delete it from right there under Rigidbody, not Rigidbody. Just scroll up right there in Circle Collider. If we delete the material,
Yeah.
none. We can select none.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what happens.
It still works.
Let's make some guesses. Do you know why this still works, Naveen?
Because the ball has Rigidbody. So maybe this has bounciness and like a bounce castle.
Correct. It's just like a bounce castle. Rather than the ball being the bouncy thing here, we have our walls being bouncy. Which is why after some time it started to bounce less and less. Which is a different way of achieving our bounce effect. So yeah, thank you, Naveen.
Yes.
Now we can move on to our big, famous coding segment. Take it away.
Alright, so now we're moving on to the movement section, and this part includes is extremely vector heavy. So first we'll review vectors, and then we'll get into how we implement them into Unity, and so on. So I'll share my screen, because I have a presentation ready. Can you see my screen now, or is it? Alright,
Oh dear, it looks like she's frozen. Surya, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
You wanna take over the presenting?
Hey, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're back. Sorry. You're like
Sorry,
frozen
I
on
don't know
my
what
side.
happened. Sorry about that.
Your face is still frozen though.
Is it? Can you still hear me though?
I can hear you, but we just see your face stuck in the one position.
Is it better?
Not quite. You want to stop sharing camera and then reshare your camera, perhaps?
Yeah, that's what I did, but...
You want to try leaving and rejoining?
Alright.
Sorry guys, we have a few technical difficulties. Be back in 5.
Can y'all see me now, or is it still?
It's still like that.
Should I just turn off my camera then? All right. Is it working? Or is it still stuck?
Is your camera on?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't see your camera on. I just see a giant SS. Oh my. Well then, let's just move on. We don't need your camera.
All right.
Yes. Surya, how about you turn your camera on instead? And you want to present the slides?
Can you see me?
Yep, we got your face.
Alright, so I can show my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. We'll be going over the movement. So, to understand movement, you first have to understand.
By the way, Surya, you mind like getting closer to your computer? Because when you go back, you're rather quiet.
Is that better?
Yep, that's a lot better.
Alright, so to understand movement and vectors, so first there are something called scalar quantities. Scalar quantities are used when we measure something and express it as a numerical value. For example, the number of pets someone owns or how far away something is. This value, when talking about vector magnitude, scalar quantities only have magnitude. Vector quantities have both magnitude and a direction. They can be broken into their x and y components. They can also be represented by arrows, and the magnitude of the arrow is directly proportional to the length of the arrow. The direction of the vector is pointed. For example, a car traveling 45 kilometers per hour southeast, or a ball being thrown 5 meters per second northwest. Take a car moving 45 kilometers an hour east. So 45 kilometers an hour. In 1 hour, say this would be 45, the length, and it would be going east. So the arrow would be. So to add vectors, if two vectors are pointing in the exact same direction, you can just simply add them together. But in all other cases, you have to draw a resultant vector to add up the two vectors. Resultant vectors are found by drawing an arrow from the tail of the first arrow to the tip of the second arrow. There will be a picture afterwards to help explain this. The resultant vectors help find total displacement or the total distance away from the starting position. So if a car,
I can continue presenting if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So something that you also need to know about adding vectors is, he already explained this, but I'll just reiterate it, is that they have to be tail to tip. Oh, let me share my screen then. Can you guys see it? Okay, I'll assume you guys can see it. Okay. So here we have two vectors pointing in the same exact direction. So if you're in a train that's traveling 30 kilometers east and another 20 kilometers in the same direction, you would find your overall displacement by simply adding these two values together because they're in the exact same direction. So therefore, the overall displacement would be exactly 50 kilometers. And now to calculate the overall displacement or magnitude of two vectors that aren't in the same exact direction, you would use the Pythagorean theorem. This should be something most of you all are familiar with. length of side A squared plus the length of side B squared gives us the length of side C squared. Thus, the length of side C, which is the hypotenuse, is equal to the square root of side A plus the square root of side length B. These two can be used to help find overall displacement, such as this example. So if you have a car going 7 kilometers east and then 24 kilometers north, you would draw your arrows like so. So notice how these two black arrows are drawn from tail to tip, and then, tip to tail, and then this resultant vector in blue is drawn from the tail of the first vector to the tip of the very first vector. From the tail of the first vector to the tip of the second vector. So to find the hypotenuse, which is 25 kilometers, you would use Pythagorean Theorem, and you would get your overall displacement. And then subtracting vectors is also extremely important, but it's pretty much the same exact principle as adding vectors. However, you can only subtract vectors normally if arrows are in opposite directions. For example, if you had a frog jump 10 centimeters east and then 5 centimeters west, your total displacement would be 5 centimeters east. And now, to implement this into Unity, we have this code here that Surya will begin to explain and show you how it's done. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharanya. So I will share my screen once again, and I can explain to you how the code part works in Unity. So if I go to my assets, then I go to the movement one, I can open it in Visual Studio Code. Okay, so here's the code for the movement. So you have your movement class, and you have your update void that updates once per frame. So pretty simple. All it does is it takes the input of the arrow keys and it moves the ball in that direction. So the y component is moving positive, so it has positive 9.8. If it has a down arrow, the y component is moving in the negative 9.8. Left arrow is moving to the left, the x component goes to the negative direction. And if you have the right arrow, the x component is positive and it goes to the right. So start is called before the first frame update, and this happens every frame, and it allows you to control the ball with your arrow keys. So if I play my code, so previously it was just falling, but now if I press my up arrow, it'll move up. If I press my right arrow, it moves to the right, down, up, left. So you can pretty quickly control the ball and make it go to where you would like it to go. So that's the movement part of the ball. I think I can now cover how to move between levels. If that's okay, I can cover how to move between two levels in Unity for your game.
Okay.
All right. So to move between levels, you're going to have a circle, and that can be like your goal or where you're trying to make it. So you have to add a circle collider, and it has to have the is trigger checked. Then you have to add a trigger script to it. It's like the movement script, it's a piece of code. And I can open up the trigger script and explain what the trigger does. So the second part here, key.r. If you click R, it's resetting back to whichever scene it's at. So if you click R, it'll just restart the level you're at. So if you get stuck or something, you can just restart the level by clicking R. And this on trigger enter if you hit the circle, so the circle gets triggered, it moves to the next scene. So this one goes up a scene, and this one stays at the same scene, so -0. So I created my circle, and I made it green in color. I added the circle collider, the is trigger, and I added the trigger script to it. So if I play my code and I go to the green circle, it moves to the next level. So I made another level. It's kind of like a maze. I added a lot of walls and stuff so that it wasn't super easy to make it to the end. But you can resize the circle. You can customize the almost portal circle, just like you would the normal circle. Struggle. There. Yeah. So this is my third scene. I haven't finished it yet, but basically if you go to the green circle, then what it'll do is it'll move you to the next scene, and it's just like the other ones. To create it, you can go to your scene, go to your circle or whatever you want the portal to be. You can click add component, new script, and then under new script, just like movement, you can type in the code to have it trigger the next scene. So yeah, that's how to make a portal to the next scene.
So yeah, while you're at it, do you mind explaining building scenes and build settings?
Oh yeah, build settings. So if you go to file and then build settings, you'll have your 3 scenes here. You have my first one is sample scene, and it has a scene index of 0. My scene 2 has a scene index of 1, and my scene 3 has a scene index of 2. So here's where you can organize your scenes. And if I ever want to make a new scene, for example, I can make a new scene right now. Create scene. So now I have a new scene. I can call it scene 4. I can add my prefab to it. So here, now I have my walls and my circle. And now to add it in like the order, to make it scene index 3 or to have them in order, I can go to build settings and click add open scenes right here. And if you click add open scenes, what it'll do is it'll add whatever the scene you don't have on it, and it'll add it to the end. So boom, I clicked add open scenes, and it moved scene 4 to index 3. So now if I add a trigger to scene 3, it'll move it to scene 4. And I can show you how to make a trigger. I can do it in scene 3. So if I go to my scenes, scene 3. So here's my scene 3. I have my walls and my ball. Now I can add my circle to move to the next scene. So I can go to create 2D object, sprite, and circle. I can change the color to green just to signify that this is the portal to make it to the next level. And then if I go to scene 2 and look at the properties, it has circle collider 2D, is trigger, and the trigger script. So I'm going to add those to the one in scene 3. I can add a circle collider. To check is trigger. And then I can add a component, a new script, and well, actually, I don't need to add a new script. If I can just use my existing trigger script. Drag it. I already have a trigger script, so I can just use it. See, I added the trigger script. So now, I hope if I go over the circle, it'll move to scene 4. Yeah, see, I went to the circle and it moved to scene 4. So that's how you can add portals to move to the next level.
Hello, Siri. Thank you about that. Thank you. That was very informative. So, that everyone has said something now, but now let's move on to back to our first presenter, Maxwell. Maxwell, you mind showing us some of your GIMP skills and editing our circle and walls to make it a bit more fancy schmancy?
Okay. So, yep. All right. So first and foremost, I think we should cover a few things. First of which, I guess, would be to get a better circle. So, if I turn on my screen sharing, as you can see, this is the basic level that I made. Our circle, pretty boring, you know? And even if I get the fancy, very, very fancy level that I made previously, the circle here is still, you know, very boring. It's just white, empty. It's like a void. And you know what? In order to plug up that void, we can exchange this circle for something else. So I would say the first step is to figure out what you want to change it to. So I think I want to change it to a basketball. So as you can see, I've already done this before. So first, I guess we can find an image of a basketball that generally fits the sort of vibe with this level. So as you can see, everything is pretty plain. So we want a relatively plain looking basketball. I think this one will do. Okay. So all we have to do is save this into our downloads. There's a lot of trolling in there. And then we can import it into GIMP. So I will just open GIMP in here. And as you can see, I was trying to edit something else. And to edit something else in GIMP, all you have to do is click Open. And as you can see, it should be in Downloads here. Or actually, if it isn't in Downloads, we can save it to, I guess, Documents. So I'll just move that aside here. Let's redo that. Okay, so as you can see, this is our basketball clip art. We open that, and this will create a new tab here at the top. All right, so the first problem with this is that this was one of those annoying images that you'll find on the internet with a fake transparent background. This background is not actually transparent. If we put this into the game, it's going to have this horrible checker pattern around it. And in order to prevent this, we need to clip out the basketball. And so I believe the best way to do this is, yeah, that won't work. So the best way to do this is going to be with the, I guess we can use the path select tool. So because this is a very simple shape, this might not actually be the most efficient way, but in case in the future you're cropping out more complicated shapes, the paths tool is definitely the best. So what you're going to do is click once to define a point, and then twice. And then you can move around the mouse to set the curve to whatever you want. So I'll set it to that. And I guess because this is just a circle, we can have larger spaces. With more complicated shapes, such as you know, if I wanted to crop out, let's say, this shoe, you would have to use much smaller areas. So for now, we have the luck of not having to be extremely precise. And this really will just take a little bit of time. But as you can see, the way the tool is implemented, you can pretty much get any angle. Except for that one. Sometimes it's just a bit too large. And in which case, you'll have to just define another endpoint. And whoops. Okay, we really need to get much smaller. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, sometimes it just does not work out that well. In which case you can... Okay. In which case you can just select a smaller area or sometimes a larger area. We really don't have to be extremely precise, but just being good enough is pretty much okay. So now our first point that we selected was here, around the 12 o'clock position of this basketball, I would say. So we can click that point again and then relink it to this one. I guess you could move the points around a bit too. Forgot to mention that. But yeah, so we need to link up these 2 points. And we can do that essentially just like that. And now, if I do believe so, we can delete the background. So we've actually, we need to crop out the basketball. So we've selected the basketball. Oh, it didn't select it very well. Hang on just a second. Okay, all right, I figured out a better method. So that method is going to be much better for very complicated shapes, but for more simple shapes, such as this basketball, you can use this right here, the fuzzy select tool. And what this will do is pretty much select by color. They're very similar. They will select an area, let's say right here, that is bounded, or I guess what the computer thinks is bounded. So in order to select the whole basketball, you have to hold Shift and essentially click out the entire basketball. And this will take some time, but it is faster than the fuzzy select, I believe. Okay, I believe this should be most of it. And you know, whenever you think you have enough, just press Control X. What this does is it will remove the basketball, but it also copies it to your clipboard. So if you wanted to, you can press File and then New to generate a new canvas and then paste it right in. Look at that, we have a basketball. However, if you want to, say, remove the background, you can just select the background. Okay. Hold on just 1 second again. Okay, I have lied again. I am a liar. So this is what we had previously. We had selected the basketball and saved it to our clipboard. However, in order to have a completely transparent background, you actually can't have anything at all. So you would need to close out of this and close out of this. And the basketball is actually still in our clipboard. It is still selected. So if we paste it in, as you can see, this is a legitimate transparent background. It's not the fake one like the one we had off Google. So we can export this. And basically, what this will do is it will create a normal file that we can import into our game. Oh, I actually stopped screen sharing. Okay, my bad. So as you can see, we are going to export it as a PNG. And in here, there are some things. We're going to not save the background color. And we're not going to have compression level by much. We can just export, and then it should work. So if I look in here, I actually forgot to title it, but yeah, as you can see, this is what the PNG looks like when saved. And so if we go back to our physics game, click here on the bottom left on Assets, and then from a File Explorer tab, as you can see, this is the image of the basketball. We can drag it in to here. And I forgot to title it, but in here we can title it basketball. And then we can simply drag this into our scene, just like we did with the ball previously. And so what this will do is pretty much create a sprite here. And we can use this to replace the ball, or the circle, I guess. And, oh, I guess I can't do that precisely, but we can use the resize tool to resize it to roughly the shape, and then we can apply all the same properties to it as we just showed. So that's the gravity, the colliders, and the movement, everything, all the good stuff. We can apply it to it, and we can play with that instead. So I haven't had that set up, but it would basically be the same. So yeah. As for the background, that's basically the same thing as well. You would import an image. Let's say this is my background. Okay, the basketball is my background. We could move it into the background here and resize it over the whole thing. This is a very cool background. And as long as our basketball is, I believe, lower in the order that it is displayed, it should act as a basketball, as a background, sorry, if it doesn't have any properties. And so, yeah.
Hi, Maxwell. I just want to make a quick note about your basketball background. Do you mind sharing your screen? Sharing your screen again?
All right.
So you see, if you go down to additional settings near sprite render, sorting layer, the default dropdown, over there in inspector on your right.
Oh,
Click on the basketball,
okay.
sprite render, sorting layer, default. You see that? The sorting layer, additional
Yep.
settings. We hit add sorting layer.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the plus. You can create a default. You can create a new layer, which you can title back. And then
Yep.
we can click on everything in level 2. Actually, wait, if we just click on basketball, go back. Can we go back to sprite render?
Yep.
Go back to additional settings, add sorting layer. If we drag the layer back to be above default, and if we make the basketball be on the back layer, so click on basketball, one more time, go to sorting layer, change it back, boom.
Ah, so yeah, that's how you make the basketball the, I guess, the very first thing that is displayed, and then everything else is layered on top of it. So now, I believe, since we have not added any properties to it, we have ourselves a very funky background. And yeah, so I would suggest to not make it a basketball, but you can really make it anything you want. So yeah.
By the way, here's a quick tip. What if you clicked on your circle, and what if we dragged the basketball into the sprite where it says circle? So if we drag the basketball sprite into the circle, what if we delete that child that was just made? See in the sprite render how it says sprite circle? Well, if we drag the basketball sprite there, can we do it?
Aha.
Let's resize it, by the way.
It's a bit bloated, but oops, this isn't. I'll delete the background because it's kind of confusing. Okay, so yeah, that's how you, I guess, can much more easier replace the circle with the basketball. And wow, it's even spinning. So I would assume that the hitbox is a bit funky, but as Jeffrey showed me earlier today, pretty sure in the collider, oh yeah, you can press Control and scroll to zoom in on things. As you can see, my collider is very funky. It's way too small. So in order to bring it to its rightful size, we ought to make this about the same as the basketball. There we go. And now when we hit play, as you can see, this is much more reasonable. So yeah.
Thanks, Maxwell. That was pretty cool. By the way, Naveen, I heard that you developed something recently that you want to show us, something called a kill head or a kill square?
Yes. So, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so this is the normal game that was there. So you can add a new square, and then so this square will be like the kill square. So if you touch it, if the ball touches it, then the whole level will reset. So you do that, and then you make it bigger. And then I'll make it red because that seems like an appropriate color. So then we have to add the box collider like this. And we have to press ish trigger. So this will basically be the corridor to the next level, except it will just reset the level. So wait, let me stop sharing, and then I will share my whole screen so you can see it. Okay, so you can make a new script by just going to create and then pressing that, and then you can, well, I'll do that now, and then you can open it, and then it'll come up next to all the other scripts. So I named the next level one next level, and you can just copy and paste this into this one. But here you have to change it to the new name that you have. And then you also have to change this to 0 so that it resets the level. Yep. And then you have to add that to the square that you made. And it'll show up here. And then if everything worked, then if you touch it, then the scene will reset. Yes. So scene resets when you touch the square. Okay, that's it. Very cool.
Thank you, Naveen. That was pretty cool. So, Sharanya or Surya, you guys mind making some levels for us now? Show us how to make some levels. Let's make some levels.
And otherwise, like, oh, Sharon. Alright, I guess I'll just go do it. Let me turn my video on. Alright, so I will share my screen. Okay, so I have my screen. So this is very complex, but I can change one of my other videos. So one of the easiest ways that you can just make levels is you can use the walls, and what I did is I just like duplicated them and resized them, because the walls can technically, they're the same thing as the mini walls you want to implement. So you can just duplicate and resize them. So this wall, it says is square 2. over here. So if I right click and click duplicate, I can drag it around and the original one will stay there. So I can start my circle in this top left corner, and then I can put like the target in the bottom right. So I can change this to make it like a little bit smaller, that you have to go down. And I can duplicate one of the horizontal ones as well. Oh, not that. Like that, yeah. So another thing you can do is you can like change their position and scale here. So if you don't want to drag it around or the dragging around isn't working, you can change how wide or how change how wide or where it is. So for instance, this one is three high. I can make it taller by increasing the Y, and I can move it down by decreasing the position Y. So right now it's at 3. I can put it to the middle with 0. So this is useful because you can see the width of my ball is 1. So I got to make sure that the width of whatever the pathways I want to do, I got to make sure that the width is at least 1 so that there's space for the ball to fit. So I can move this here, and I can move this one here. So now there's this nice pathway that you have to move through. So if I click play, you're forced to go through here. Also, another thing I did is, if you can tell it's bouncing a lot, I made another physics material 2D called bouncy, and I made the bounciness 1 just to make it a little bit harder. So you can change the bounciness, but I don't think you should go above 1, because here, let me show you. If I make it like 1.5, for instance, and now I try running it, some crazy stuff happens. So it can just start doing this, and then it just like glitches through the wall. So if you have it greater than 1, it's not going to work. So you got to make sure the bounciness is the maximum it can be is 1. So I can start adding more walls by duplicating these ones and making narrow pathways. So maybe I can duplicate this one like that, or no, like that. I can make this one wider, and then I can make sure you have to go up here. So now, well, I can make that neater. Square 7. If you double click it over here, it zooms it in. So like that. Good enough. So now if I play, very bouncy, so it's pretty difficult, but that, and boom. So now you can escape. So I'm just going to continue making a maze. I can go back to my camera view, and I can just continue making this maze by making you go around, over. So go here, like that, and then, oh, it's a bit off, and I'm just going to resize that so that you have to go through that long passage. Duplicate right next to the ball, and then, or I should make that smaller. So I'm just trying to make it as long as possible, so it's not a very easy level, so that you have to go all the way around to get to the ball. No, you cannot. You just go straight there. And I can fix, a lot of them are like a little bit off. Like if you look at this one, which one is this? So square 10. Like it's a little bit off, but I can fix that after. This is good for now, I guess. So that's how I made a level. I can play through it, or I can try to play through it as well. I don't know if I have the green portal triggered because I actually think I do, because I have a scene after it. But if you don't have a scene after it, it's not going to know what the next scene you want to go to is. It add a scene 4 when I was showing the movement. It's very challenging when it's bouncy. And there you go. That's how I made the other level. Level 2. As you can see, I can play through this level as well. I don't have the extra bouncy for this one. I have a physics material 2D that has the bounciness at 0.6 rather than 1. So this one's a little bit easier. But that's how you can add difficulty to your levels, is by adding bounciness, and you can make the mazes harder. Yeah. So that's how you make a level. If Sharanya or anyone wants to say something else, they can.
Naveen, I heard that you have some great level ideas with your new killbox thing. Care showing them?
Okay. I made 2 other levels with it. I will show you. Okay. So this is the first level, and I'll play through it, and I'll show the other levels as I finish this one. So touch the red, then it'll reset the level. So this one's pretty easy. You go there, and then this one I added 2 of them. Then you go here, and then the third one is kind of hard to go through all 3 of them without touching them. Oh. Okay, there. So should I make another level? Okay. So I'm just going to copy and paste all of this so I don't have to remake all of it. And then for this one, I'm going to get rid of these outside walls. Well, I don't need to. I can just add the reset to them, I think, and then it'd work. I have to make them triggers. And then I'm going to make them red so you know that they reset the level. And then you have to make them all triggers. Yeah. Wait. No, I didn't do this one. I think I added 2 to this. Yeah, I'll delete 1. And then I'll make these red. I'll get the code from here so I can make it the same red. You just have to copy and paste it into each one. Okay. Now, if I touch the walls, it should reset level as well. Yes, it does. Okay, so this one you have to do without touching anything. Oh, it's really hard. Okay. Okay, I'm not sure if I can do this one. It's not working out very well. It's like final boss level. Okay, I can't do this one, but it's probably possible if you work on it a lot. So yeah.
Thank you, Naveen. That was one difficult, incredible level. And you know, I think after seeing all of you guys make some levels, I think it's my turn to add to the pot. Let me pull up Unity now. Let's show you guys how to make a level. Hello, you guys probably can't see me sadly, but you guys can hear me, and that's what's important. So, anyways, I'm going to pull up Unity real quickly. Let me get my Unity stuff fixed. Give me a quick second. There we go. I should have my display stuff fixed. So, I'm now going to show you some more advanced, tricky levels. So you can see we have a very simple level. It's all simple. It's all nice. It's all good. Now let's create a new scene. Let's make some real challenging levels. Challenge 1. Challenge accepted, more like. So, I have a wall prefab I actually made, which allows me to immediately just put down a wall and resize it to my liking. So I'm going to use this and take advantage of it. Create some walls. Now I got my walls down. Let's put my player prefab that I made. Put this down. And you know, while I'm at it, let's go back to our previous scene. Save. Let's steal this and make it a prefab. By the way, you guys can see Unity right now, right? I believe you guys can see Unity. You just can't see my face, sadly. What a shame.
It's actually the other way around. We can see your face, but not Unity.
Yeah.
Oh.
If you're on the live stream, you can see his screen, not his face.
Yeah. Okay.
Funky. I'll share it also in Teams so you guys can see the incredible thing that is Unity. Got some dual sharing over here going on. So, we got my scene, got my stuff, and we got my trigger. What would be a good first level? What if we made moving blocks in our level? Sounds crazy, but let me show you what I mean. Let's put down one of our walls again, and let's move it up here. Let's copy and paste and put it over here. And select both of these at the same time, copy and paste them both, put them over here. And now, I'm about to do something crazy. Let's copy and paste this, put this in here. Let's change it up with the size. Something roughly, this should be good. And now, I'm about to do something crazy. I'm going to throw my move script onto this square. And now, peace before your eyes. Oops. And the reason this thing isn't happening properly is because I forgot to add a Rigidbody. And I should also fix up my wall over here on this side. And on this side. Camera ended up being a bit bigger than I expected. We can also change this color to something a bit different. Touch that. I believe that should be all my bugs. And as you can see, I now have a thing where I have a square that changes with the gravity. So let me just tweak the size of the square just a little bit to make it a bit more tight fit. Like that. So that, oops, maybe it was a bit better the way that it was before. A tight fitting square. So that now I'm trying to go to the next part. It's a lot tougher because, well, a square's in the way, and while we're here, it could accidentally trap us. It's a bit easy to get out of, but it makes quite a nice obstacle having a moving square. So that's one instance. I have an idea for another scene. Let's create another scene. We'll call it Challenge 2. For Challenge 2, we basically have the same old setup and whatnot as the previous one. Got my 4 walls being all set up. Let's throw in my player. Oh, that's my trigger. And that's my player, but zoomed in. Throw in my player, and boom. Simple level right now. Or is it? What if we decided to create an empty game object? And if you guys don't know what an empty game object is, it's basically just, well, a game object, but there's nothing to it, nothing attached. What if we added a component? What if we added a collider to it? What would happen? We'd have this collider, but there's nothing seen in the collider. So, this is going to be very evil of me. But, what if I created an invisible wall? Ooh, I like the sound of that. Invisible wall. Edit this collider a bit more. Put it right there. Copy and paste, put this over here, copy and paste, put this over here, copy and paste, and put this over here. And now when we hit play, we have a level with invisible walls. Terrifying, alright? Guys, you think this is terrifying?
Yes, definitely.
I'm so scared. I'm gonna.
Oh,
See, I'm so scared I forgot what to say.
I see what it is. Okay, Maxwell, I'm just gonna make a level just for you. It's all gonna be invisible wall levels. I'm gonna say you only get credit for the events if you can pass the game.
If you make it a maze, it'll be a lot harder.
You're right, Naveen. Let's make this a maze.
Maxwell, you're gonna have to play through this.
No. I have to send video evidence of me playing through this.
No, you play it right now.
Content?
Content?
Yes.
Let's see our walls.
I think a good idea would be that if you make the maze, and then you stop screen sharing for a second, add more stuff, and then tell Maxwell to play it. So that he doesn't know everything.
Sounds like a devious idea. I quite like the sound.
Yes.
But then won't Maxwell just see the level and how he makes it in the prefab I send him?
You could add invisible kill blocks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Invisible kill blocks.
Okay, Sharanya, that's a bit too evil. Even I'm not that evil. You got some evil stint in here or something? Okay.
Or you can just
Oh.
add an invisible wall all around the green thing, so he can never actually like win.
That's actually terrifying. Gosh. Or what if I did something actually terrifying? What if I did that exact idea that you just said? Okay. Let's say I did
And
this.
then we make Maxwell play it and tell him he has to beat it.
Are you gonna make like an invisible scene change? Level change?
An invisible change?
Not scene change, sorry, level change.
I'm not sure how that would work, but that sounds like a terrifying idea.
Maxwell, you're gonna have to play this level.
Okay. The evil thing I do right here. I turn off the bottom collider, so the only way to beat the level is you have to go from the bottom, find your way through what's happening over here in the scene. Ball, where'd you go? Come back. Come back, ball.
Oh man.
My ball ran away. Let's try it again. Oh. It ran away. Ah.
If you press the arrow keys when you change it to scene, does it still work?
It technically would work, but there are some issues while doing this.
Okay.
Such as the ball flying away. So yeah, that's one instance of a level. I think I'll also get rid of this. I think I'll make my floor, once again, a collider. And I was actually playing a game several years back, and I got inspiration for making one more devious level. Oh, I only called it new scene. Delete the new scene. Let's create scene called Challenge 3. Sounds positively evil. Let's add our things. Let's make it a normal level to start. Nothing out of the ordinary. Just our 4 walls. Seems peaceful so far, right guys?
Yes, peaceful.
Very peaceful indeed.
Probably not for long though.
Probably not for long. So, now, while playing serious level and I saw all of this tight spaces, I got a spark of inspiration. What if I took this resized it and made a sort of funnel per se. I can make these just a bit shorter. And then we can throw in our end. Make it tiny this time. Hide it in here. Then we have the player. But that's not all there is. We make multiple players. We make multiple ones that are all varying sizes. And now we have a tricky level where you have to somehow get the one ball through all the balls. I wonder if even I can do it. Oh. Oh, I'm close, I'm close. Oh, so close, so close. Oh. And there. But technically, this will be a very tricky level. So what do you guys think?
I have another idea. So you can make the walls, and then you could like make another wall like right in the middle, like horizontally. And then you keep one player on the top and then one player on the bottom, and then one end goal on each. And then you make like a maze, and for each of the two different sections. And then like you have to get them both through by like moving both of them. And like some of the parts of the maze, like if you move one character, then the other one would go the other way. And you have to get them both to the end point to get to the next level.
Making multiple targets hit multiple goals. I think that's a bit beyond our coding experience for today, but I can take your idea and spin it in a new direction.
Yes.
What if I made a great new scene? Call this Challenge 4. Hit save. Let's create our walls and all that stuff. Everyone loves our walls, right? Right, guys?
Yes.
Of course.
Yes, for sure.
We love our walls. You gotta show our walls some care. Without them to be flying everywhere, whatnot. We need a wall appreciation day. Except for that. That was not very appreciative. Let's take the beans idea. But let's make it vertical. Now, let's create a new script. New, create, C# script. We'll call this the kill. Yep, we're taking your idea, Naveen. We're making a kill script. Let me drag my Visual Studio over here so you guys can also see this. Let's go back to Unity. Let's take our triggered script. Let's yeet all this back over here.
We can't actually see the Visual Studio.
Oh dear, I think only you guys can't see Visual Studio, but our stream audience can. So I recommend you guys try joining the stream. But don't worry, I'm just copying what Naveen did. Yep, nothing too out of the ordinary. So now, hit save. We have our kill. So now, let's create a new 2D object, a square. Let's move it roughly here. Let's change its color to a fiery red, like a dark red, in my opinion. And let's attach some things to it. Collider 2D. Let's make it a trigger, and let's attach the .kill script to it. And let's just throw a player in here and see what happens. Make sure we X kill. Oops. Yep, works. First try. So now let's take Naveen's idea of creating our maze and whatnot. We have our maze, casual maze. Oops. Very simple maze, nothing too complicated. You guys know what I'm about to do?
Yes. You're gonna have to move one character through the maze while the other one's in the other box going around the death squares.
Exactly.
And if the other player touches the death square, then the whole scene will reset.
Yep, you are exactly right, Naveen. Now this is one evil level in my opinion. Anyone who does this is evil, including me. This makes more kill squares. Let's put them in these 4 general areas. Put these here, put these here, put these here, and whatnot. Let's try out the level. Oh. Try it out. Oh. This already feels... Oh, messed up. Okay, this is a really difficult level. Okay, just need to go down. I need to go down. Oh. Let's go down. Let's go down, please. Oh. And boom. But that was a terrifying level, nonetheless. And if we decide to, like, put these in the corner, then, well, you don't really have much room to think anymore, because we gotta dodge these, and we can't even use the walls to our advantage. Oops. Oh. This is very tricky. Oh my gosh. Nice, we got him in there. And there we go. That is one tough level. I'm impressed I got it first try.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's about all of the stuff that I would like to share today. You guys don't get to see teams. Let me scooch this out of the way. That's all the stuff that I care to share today. And now, let's go back to our Frog Jam Society people. Frog Jammers. Hello. You guys got some ideas to make more levels?
Kind of.
We can make, yeah, kind of.
You wanna get cracking at them? Let's make some levels.
Okay, so I do share my screen. All right, so I have kind of a reveal. Wow, this is one of the levels that I made a few days ago. And so as you may have noticed, my version of the physics game has a different goal than the others. I have this kind of flag thing right here. And this is like a smaller detail, but all of these small details will combine to make a much more detailed game overall. And so, I talked about smaller things like replacing the player with a basketball and changing the background and stuff like that. And really, the physics games that we show you is like the very bare bones, like the simplest form of the game. So if you want to make a more, I guess, in-depth game, you can learn how to make shape combinations such as this. And in order to do this, all you really need are, so let's get a blank slate. So let's say I want to make a shape that involves these two lovely triangles here. So let's say, just for the purpose of demonstration, that I want to make this right here one single shape that I can add combined properties to. And as you can see, rather than, say, as I did in the past, shift-clicking them and then adding properties onto them together, we can actually turn them into just one object overall. And to do this, we right-click the area right here and select Create Empty. And, as Jeffrey showed, you can use this to make invisible walls. But what you can also use this to do is to create groups of objects. So we can call this 2 triangles. Okay, and so what we would do is take these 2 triangles and move them into this. So as you can see now, they're treated as one object, and we can add combined properties to them. And really, this is very simple, but this allows you to much more easily create very complicated shapes and arrangements of shapes that will really add a lot more detail. So I've shown pretty much the basics with, as you can see right here, this flag, but you can really do much more interesting things with it overall. So, Jeffrey showed a moving square obstacle. You could, for example, take these red triangles and turn them into spikes and put them on the edge of the square and make them kill blocks. So you have a moving, basically spiky kill square. And you can do things like that. And, at first it seems like kind of a small thing, but, when you put it all together, you have a much more detailed and interesting game overall. Yeah, that's all I have to say.
So, Naveen, I heard you got
Yes.
stuff up your sleeve.
Yes, I do. I have something. So I'm going to share Unity. Okay, so this is the Unity level. And so I have 2 different moves. I have a move and I have a realistic move. So the normal move, I will show that now, which we showed how to make, looks like this. So if you press an arrow key, then gravity will move that way and the ball will keep bouncing in that direction. See, I pressed the right arrow key and then gravity changed. So I added 1 line of code and I made a new script and I added 1 line of code at the bottom and I put else and I made it the one for the down arrow, so it goes back to normal after you press. And if you add that, then it'll look a lot more realistic and it'll look cooler. But like, this isn't really for like if you want to use it for like a maze. This is more like just like because it looks nice. So if you do add that, then if I press right, then it just bounces like normal. Like there's normal gravity. And looks really nice. As you're kind of just dragging it with the arrow keys, and then it falls back down. And that's all I had to say.
Wow, thank you, Naveen. That was pretty good. Does anyone else have something they would like to share? Any thoughts? Chat. Anything you guys want to share? Any more advanced levels? Any ideas?
I don't know, but maybe try. I like the invisible line, but maybe if you like increase the bounciness, it'd be like even better.
Perhaps. I think that would work. You want to share your screen and maybe show us how that would go?
Okay. Let me share my screen, and I can make another level. Screen. Oh, that is our stream. Okay. So here was my level. I can go to the one I was creating before. This one. So let's play it. Yeah, it's really. Oh my god. Oh no. There we go. So you can change, if you were wondering how to change or you forgot, under the physics material 2D, you can change the bounciness. And you can make it like bouncy for certain levels and not bouncy for other levels. So what I have for my sample scene here, my first level, it's very simple. I don't have the high bounciness because, so I have the circle and it's using, if I want to include it, and I can just copy paste the circle with the normal physics material 2D. But what I did is I just copy pasted them to all the other ones. But right now, it's I'm creating a new one called Circle 2, and for this one, I used the bouncier physics. And I can, so if I want to apply the bouncier one, scene 2, I can show you how to do it. So this is my circle that I was using to. This is a circle I was using to do level 2. I can go to 3. Yes, I would like to see. And I can go to here, or I can just go. this circle should be just like this one, but we want the physics material. I'm gonna add circle collider and rigid body. I can click add component, circle collider and rigid body. And then I also want to make sure I add the movement that we use. And for this one, I'm going to use instead of the normal one with the 0.6 bounciness, I'm going to use the one with the bounciness of 1. And drag it. And now if I run it, it should be bouncing. Oh, well, I guess it's starting in the middle. So, bounces. And another thing you can change with the physics is the friction. You can make it have more or less friction.
Ah. Yes. Thank you. Sorry. So, now we have a bit of time left. Wonder what we can do. Something interesting, something fascinating. Maxwell. You remember my challenge levels? So, if you know our shared folder, I uploaded a little thing for you to try out. Hopefully, perhaps for you to get credit. I recommend you take a crack at downloading it, and perhaps share your screen.
Okay. So, yeah, as we just saw, Jeffrey made a series of challenge levels. So they're uploaded to the shared drive, right?
Yep. You should just download the whole folder.
Okay. So let me just pull that up. I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk about saving and implementing prefabs. Because, a lot of the times you'll be working on projects or games with more than one person. And in those cases, if you're not all editing the same version, you need a way to send progress of the game to each other. And the way that we do this is with prefabs. And so, if I can find the drive,
You need me to forward it to you?
Hold on. Yeah, I think so.
Don't worry. I'll just forward it to you.
Okay, yeah. So essentially, as I was saying, prefabs can also be used for fun stuff like this, where you can send levels to your friends and see if they can be beaten. And this also takes us to another very important part of game design, and that is testing your game with others. Because when you yourself make a level or even a whole game, you kind of know what to expect when playing it. But, you're going to be releasing it to other people, not just yourself. And in that case, they might not know, or they certainly will not know everything about the game. So, you can use them to gauge if you need to change some things to make them more understandable, or if some things are too difficult. So, yeah. So I think this is a great example of this. I'm going to essentially playtest the challenge levels that Jeffrey made. Okay. So, hold on.
Gotta download the whole folder.
Okay.
The one labeled RIP Maxwell.
Right. So I will
You wanna share your screen?
load the whole thing. Hold on. After I download and open it.
You can share your whole screen and like we can check to make sure you're like downloading and opening it right.
Okay. Yep.
Oh, you got it?
So it has just finished downloading. It has all the stuff. So yeah. I'm pretty sure most prefabs will look something like this when you when you download them. And so all we have to do to put this into the game and test it is, I'm pretty sure.
By the way, Maxwell, it's not a prefab. It's a fully complete game.
Oh. Okay, never mind then. So we're not gonna paste it in, but
that was the discussion about prefabs. So if you just click on the application RIP Maxwell, you made sure to extract it, right?
Whoops, have not done that yet. I think I've stopped sharing. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to extract it.
I can see the impending doom.
Mm.
You guys want to turn on the cameras as well as we join Maxwell in our grand conclusion for Physics Part 1?
Oh, man.
And Sharanya, your camera works now. Amazing.
I don't know why it was like all weird at the beginning.
I blame Max. I'm never a Mac guy. Macs are just funky.
Yeah, I've had so much trouble with it.
For a second, I thought you blamed Max as in Maxwell.
Hey, gotta keep it PG. Surya, gonna turn on the camera as well? Don't worry, it's not Trojan. You can just hit more info.
This is what most games will tend to look like when you export them. So Windows Defender is going to get angry, but you can just run anyways. Oh man. Here we go. All right. So I believe it's the arrow keys that work here.
Don't worry, you just need a bit of a warm-up. Some warm-up stages, you know? Nothing too hard.
Just a bit of a warm-up, yep. So here's the block level that we saw Jeffrey make today. And oh dear. Oh, this is our chance to make the escape. Aha. Here's where the real fun begins. So I'm pretty sure I can just continue going rightward and moving up and down, and I will eventually stumble across the exit. There we go. Oh man. This is the real challenge. So we have to get only the small ball can fit into the funnel here. But
It's like an advanced block level.
so this is quite tricky. Okay, I've gotten. Oh, I just. Okay.
Now for the hardest level.
So here's the hardest one, and this is even harder for me because I think something interesting is going on with my screen. Not everything is showing.
It's cropping out all the sides. Like the sides of this, not there.
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry, Maxwell. It's just some more kill things if you accidentally hit. So just
Okay.
basically things that'll kill you. You can't even see them.
Yep. Oh, okay. I would say the most potent piece of feedback I can give currently is that I think something with the way that the game loads should be just looked into, because this is kind of funky right now. Oh, jeez.
It's terrifyingly difficult.
Oh no. Okay.
It's even more
so
difficult because it didn't even load in properly.
I believe on the other. This may be the end of me. Okay.
So I beat this first try.
Well, I can't see the whole thing.
Yeah, you did have a full field of vision of the game.
Oh geez, I can't even see the ball on the other side. I think the best chance I have is just moving randomly. Honestly. Oh. Just gonna go in a circle. I just realized when we're judging the games, it's just gonna be this for like 2 hours.
Hopefully, the games won't be as hard as this. If something ends up being this hard, then maybe we'll just send Maxwell out.
0 out of 10. 0 out of 10.
I think it's at least a 7. Come on.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So, we have about 2 minutes left. I think I might not get the credit for this.
2 minutes, Maxwell. Just gotta speedrun it.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So, honestly, I think I do have the best chances if I just move randomly. Okay, I think I found the way to stop the movement.
Oh dear. Naveen, you look bored. Do you also want to try this out?
No.
Oh dear. He's good. Jeez. Okay.
I'll tell you the trick.
Oh yeah. Through this game testing, we have found that I guess something is wrong with the field of view. You know, something interesting is going on with that.
I mean, it's kind of Naveen's advice. How I show you the thing, but I change some things up. So you can really blame Naveen, because I didn't want to let you see the final product.
Oh dear. Okay. Oh, that was the closest one yet.
Not being able to see the ends, it adds a little more difficulty to it.
It does.
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. Oh dear, 1 minute left.
Is now a good moment to mention I added an extra scene at the end of this?
Oh no. Oh.
He's
Okay.
close. Oh my gosh, you can actually do it.
Okay. We might have this. No, we don't. Just kidding.
You're
Just
so
kidding.
close.
Tragic.
Okay. Absolute tragedy. Okay, so in order to get up to here, I found out that I do just need to kind of move randomly.
Your time's up.
Just, oh no!
Time's up.
No! Oh, well, I guess that's that.
I guess that's
So,
that.
yeah.
I guess we had a good stream. So yeah. You know, if any of you guys want to try out RIP Maxwell, I might just maybe. You know, you guys, you four should also try it out. It's not available on Mac, so maybe you might be a bit safe. But I'll find some way to bring it to Mac. No, I'll contact my friend Sanjit, have him convert it. We'll be all ready. So you two could also join on the fun.
I'll wait for that day.
For that day? Okay. Okay then. So yeah, that's all there is for physics part 1. Until next time, guys.